What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Matty Ice here, back with another video. And in today's video, we're going to talk about the top 10 baits that I used this year to catch the most bass in 2022. So stick around. It's going to be a good one. All right, guys, well, before we get started and going through the top 10 baits that I caught the most bass on in 2022, I want to go over a couple of other little details before we get started in the video. If you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel, like the video, leave a comment down below, share it to your friends and family. I really would appreciate it. Our goal for this year was to hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. It doesn't look like that quite happened. We got about halfway there, but we're gonna try to do it again this year in 2023. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button and help me any way that you can. And also, don't forget to check out today's video sponsor, which is HotSeatCustomBaits.com. A lot of these baits that we're gonna talk about in today's video are gonna be available for purchase on the website. The link will be left down in the description box below. And also, use my code Matty at checkout and you can save 10% off your entire order. Go to HotSeatCustomBaits.com. It's all about custom colors, so if there's a color that you want to match, you want to have matched, or a special color that's custom to you, that's what Hot Seat Custom Baits is all about. So check the link down in the description box below. And also, any of you out there that are looking for a great bass club and you live in the Tampa Bay area, check the link down in the description box below, NorthTampaBassClub.com. We're having our new season starts back up in January. So, come and meet us out at the Wing House on 301 in Tampa. That's by the fairgrounds, and join. We're a great bunch of guys. We're always looking for new boaters. Non-boaters are welcome as well. So check the link down in the description to get the schedule. I believe the schedule will be posted here shortly, but come see us at the Wing House here coming up. We meet, so come check us out at the Wing House. All right, so before we get started within the top 10, let me just kind of give you a basic recap of what went on this year. So I did actually end up winning the Co-Angler of the Year for the North Tampa Bass Club. It was a first place tie between myself and James Cheek. So I want to say congratulations to James. Great competition this year. So I just wanted to mention that. And then in the other club that I fished in, which is the Bay Area Bassmasters, we ended up finishing in 13th place overall, which our goal was to finish in the top 10. That didn't quite happen. We made a few mistakes and had a couple of bad tournaments that really cost us. We probably would have been really, really close, if not top 10. But unfortunately it didn't work out, but I think we still had a pretty good season. And so we're gonna fish that tournament trail again this next year, as well as North Tampa Bass Club. So for 2023, we've got a great schedule, a lot of big lakes, Lake Toho, Lake Kissimmee, Harris Chain, Okeechobee. So a lot of big lakes on the schedule for this next season. So it's gonna be a great year. Can't wait to get started. The spawn is just around the corner. I believe I saw where the bass are already bedding on Okeechobee. So we're ready to get things rolling for 2023. So it's going to be a great year. So stick around, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. It's going to be a good year, and I really would appreciate it. All right, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the top 10 list. So the first bait on the list, coming in at number 10, is a bait that you might not expect. It's one of those ones that's kind of overlooked, but I did catch a number of really good fish on this bait this year, and the bait that I'm talking about is none other than the old-fashioned spinnerbait. This is a War Eagle spinnerbait. This is a 3/8 ounce, so big blades. I've got a Gambler Little Easy trailer on here. I also use Kitex, a 3.8 inch Kitex on the back of these spinnerbaits. But I caught a number of pretty good fish on this, and it helped fill in a couple of limits this year. It really did work all year round. I don't really have a brand preference on spinnerbaits. I would say probably my favorite spinnerbait is probably the River to Sea the River to Sea Bling that was designed by Ish Monroe. It was designed by Ish Monroe. But no, I like to keep my color simple. I like to have a gold one. I like to have a shad colored one, and I like to have a bluegill colored one. So depending on what season that we're in, or based on the water clarity or the conditions of what they're feeding on. That's how I choose my spinnerbait. So coming in at number 10, spinnerbait. All right, so the next bait on the list, number 9, is really kind of a new technique that I have been kind of practicing with, and it finally kind of came together late in the season this year. And the bait that I'm talking about here is the rage bug. Here is the rage bug. This is the color is June bug, and I was flipping this on a 1/2 ounce weight, and I was having a little bit of trouble flipping the heavier weights just because I wasn't getting enough bites, and so I decided to downsize to go to a 1/2 ounce weight. I started getting bit a lot, and this bait really helped me through the summer. Helped me catch a lot of big bass, a lot of big fish to help fill out limits, and it's also something that because I was able to get more bites with it, I was able to kind of dial in that technique, and I feel more confident, more comfortable flipping a 1/2 ounce weight or even a heavier weight on this bait. This is coming in at number 9. This is the rage bug. All right, the next bait coming in at number 8. This is, you can call this a finesse presentation or maybe not, depending on what size that you're gonna throw. But it is a great bait to mimic minnows, shad, or bluegill, or any type of forage. The bait that I'm talking about here coming in at number 8 is the Kitech. All right, the Kitech. This is a Kitech on an underspin. This is a 6th sense underspin with a 1/4 ounce weight, and this is the color is called Sungill. But I do like the shad profile colors as well, like electric shad, or Arkansas shiner, or Tennessee shiner, Tennessee shad. I forget what the name of it is. But this is a really good bait to help you get bit. It is a finesse presentation. All right, so this is actually a 4.8, which is a little bit bigger than I really like to use. I actually prefer the 4.3. I think the 4.3 is just a little bit more versatile. It's just a little bit shorter and a little bit skinnier. And it fits in as a trailer on a swim jig or a spinnerbait. A little bit better than this one. This one's kind of more of a standalone, but obviously this is, I'm trying to imitate a bluegill with this color. This is called the Sungill color. But this really got me bit when nothing else would. As a great finesse presentation, I was actually throwing this on a spinning rod. You can get away with throwing it on a bait caster, but I just had it on a spinning rod. But I got bit on this quite a few times. I caught fish in really bad conditions on this bait. So if you're in need of a bite and you can't get bit, and you're looking for something good, try out Kitech on an underspin. Coming in at number 8 on the list. All right, so coming in at number 7, this is another bait that I tried to get confidence in, but I couldn't get bit on it. I almost gave up on it until this year, but I started catching fish on that rage bug, as I mentioned earlier, at number 9. So coming in at number 7, I actually caught more fish on this bait, and the bait that I'm talking about here is the Missile Baits D-Bomb. I absolutely love this bait from the moment I saw it, but again, I threw it a lot. I just couldn't get bit on it. I couldn't understand why. But once I started catching fish on that rage bug, I started switching back and forth between that and this one, and I started catching some really good fish on this. You know, there were earlier in the year there was a tournament on the Winter Haven chain. My partner Dale caught a bunch of fish on this bait, and he said, you got to get some of these things are working, we're smashing fish on them. So I decided to buy some. I didn't have any at the time, I'd used them before, but I bought another bag of them. He told me what color. This is called Green Pumpkin Flash is the name of this particular color. So it's a green pumpkin with some gold and some hologram flake in it, so really good color. But again, I started catching fish on it, and they were quality fish. So this is, caught me enough fish to make the top 10 list this year. So coming in at number 7, D-Bomb. All right, so coming in at number 6, this is a staple bait in the state of Florida, and it's also a great summertime bait anywhere else in the country. The bait that I'm talking about is a big 10-inch ribbon-tail worm. Now this particular worm is a gambler worm. I'm not even sure what the name of the worm is called, but it's a 10-inch ribbon-tail worm. In June bug. This bait saved my butt. I can't tell you how many times when I needed a bite, when we're fishing deep, offshore, brush piles, things of that nature. But any 10-inch worm will do. I actually recommend the Hot Seat Custom Baits. It's called the Heater Worm, and it's a 10.5-inch worm. Check it out on the website, link down in the description below. But my favorite colors for a big 10-inch worm, this is Junebug. I also really like Junebug Red is another one of my favorite colors. And also check out Redbug is also a good color to use on this particular bait. But I caught a lot of good numbers of fish on this one. So I'm gonna pop this video up on the screen. I actually lost one of the biggest bass of the year on this particular lure. It was a Hot Seat Custom Baits Heater Worm in Junebug Red.
Oh my God, it's a giant. Get the net, get the net, get the net. Just please get the net.
I got you, I got you.
Holy crap. This might be a new PB, bro.
I got it, I'm here for it. She didn't even have the hook in her mouth.
No, she did.
Oh, okay.
She did. Listen, remember I said I feel a little donk?
Yep.
I picked it up and it goes. Oh.
That was freaking an 8-pounder.
All right, so coming in at the number 5 spot is another flipping bait. Again, I learned, at least I tried to learn how to flip a heavier weight this year, and it's starting to come around. So hopefully we can continue that trend into 2023. But this bait caught me the most fish out of all the flipping baits, or the punching baits, if you will. And it's a Florida staple, and it's also, you know, a very, very popular bait even on Tackle Warehouse, and that is this Reaction Innovations Sweet Beaver 420. This is called Bloody Bug. It's basically a Junebug Red. You know, if you look at it, you know, you got purple, green, or it's a purple base with green and red flake in it. They call it Bloody Bug. It's a great bait. It's a great color. Again, the same thing with the D-Bomb. You know, I bought several bags of these things and I just couldn't quite get bit on them, but I stuck with it, and this was actually the flipping bait that caught me the most fish out of all the flipping baits that we've already talked about. This bait just slips in through the cover so easily, even with a ½ ounce weight. It just slides in, it doesn't get hung up, it comes out clean, it gets good hookups, and this is also going to be in my tackle box in the future, especially for 2023. So coming in at number 5 is the Reaction Innovations Sweet Beaver. All right, so coming in at number 4, this shouldn't surprise anybody, especially anybody that's in the state of Florida. Everybody knows that this bait catches lots of fish, and it also catches big fish. And as a matter of fact, it actually caught me the biggest fish of 2022. And the bait that I'm talking about is none other than the Chatterbait. Now, this is my favorite Chatterbait. This is the Z-Man Jackhammer. People say, oh, they're 15, 16, 17 bucks. They're too expensive. They're not worth it. Yes, they are. They are definitely worth it. They absolutely are. So first of all, the hook that comes on these things is absolutely just badass. It's a stout hook. It's very sharp. I very rarely ever lose fish on this bait, and it gets them hooked every single time. Secondly, the blade, I'm not sure how they did it, but with the blade, it starts to chatter and vibrate the minute you start to crank the handle. So I don't know I mean, it looks the same, but it acts differently. I don't know how to explain it, but it just does. Now, if you don't want to spend you know, the $20 or $17 or $18 for a jackhammer. Any chatterbait will do, but I'm telling you, once you start fishing with one of these and you start seeing the difference between how it acts in the water, you'll take my advice, try yourself a chatterbait. If you get one, get this color, which is just a chartreuse and white, or a green pumpkin, or my favorite color in Florida is the golden shiner color. That's my favorite color, the golden shiner. I don't know what it is about it. It's got a gold blade. It's the best. That's the one that I actually caught the big one on. And then the second tip that I would give you is the trailer. Now this trailer is a Gambler Little Easy. Now I don't know what it is, but if you use the big Easy or the standard size Easy, it's a lot bigger of a profile of a bait, and it doesn't really move as much. When you put this smaller bait on here with this smaller boot tail, it just darts all over the place. It's like a square bill crankbait. It'll just be chattering, all of a sudden it'll just kick to the side, and it just does these weird things, and it only does it with this smaller bait. So the tip that I would give you is whatever your favorite trailer is, try downsizing the trailer just a little bit and try a smaller boot tail or a smaller size bait in general. If you're using the Gambler, you know, Easy Swimmer, go down to the Little Easy. That's what this one is. And I promise you, you're gonna get a lot more action out of your bait. So coming in at number 4 is the chatterbait. And I'm also gonna leave the video of me catching the big fish of the year on this bait. Check it out.
God, it's a good one. Oh my God, he's pulling drag. No, it's not. That's a big old largemouth.
First cast with a chatterbait, can you catch a 5-pounder?
Stay on there, stay on there. Oh yeah, baby. There's your kicker. He got it good. Man, he got it good. Oh. Oh my God, dude. Fat fish. Oh yeah, baby. $4.78. 4.78 right here. That's a nice fish, man. We'll see you next week.
All right, guys, coming in at number 3, we're at the top 3. This is one of the first baits that I ever used in Florida to catch one of my first bass in the state of Florida. This is an old Florida staple right here. It catches a lot of numbers of fish. It catches big fish. I learned this from an old school Florida guy. And the bait that I'm talking about here is none other than the Zoom trick worm, a finesse worm. This thing, and if it's not black, it better be June bug or it's not gonna get bit. No, I'm just kidding. But you can't beat black, you can't beat June bug, you can't beat green pumpkin. Another great color would be June bug red. And also check out hotseatcustombaits.com. He makes a great finesse worm, which is called a hothead. And he makes a lot of great colors. Probably my favorite color that he makes is Eclectic Sapphire or Eclectic Blue. It's a fantastic color. It's got a lot of flake in it. It really catches fish. And if you watch my videos, you'll know that Dale caught a ton of fish on those this year, you know, to fill out limits. But this bait, I don't know what there is to say enough about it. It's just a do-nothing bait, basically, but it's a smaller finesse presentation. I usually throw this on an 1/8 ounce tungsten weight, you know, with a 4/0 hook in it, and you just throw it out and let it hit the bottom. That's really all you do. You drag it a little bit, you hop it a little bit, and you let it sit, and the fish just eat it up. Another thing that you can do is you can dip the tail in some chartreuse dye. You know, a lot of guys will do that. I really don't carry dyes with me, so I don't do that. And it made number 3 on my top 10 list this year. So number 3 is a finesse worm or a trick worm. All right, guys, well, we made it to number 2 on the list. And if you watch my videos, this will become as no surprise to you. It's probably my favorite bait to catch not only numbers of fish, but also big fish. This is a big fish bait. This catches a ton of fish in the state of Florida. If you come to the state of Florida and you're not throwing this bait, you're doing something wrong. Ask anybody and they will tell you that you need to be throwing this bait. And the bait that I'm talking about is the Zoom speed worm. Okay, this is actually a Magnum speed worm. Now I prefer the Magnum speed worm over the regular sized one, which is a lot smaller. This catches just as many fish, if not more fish, and gets just as many bites than the smaller one. So if you can get bit on the bigger one, why not throw the bigger one? And the other thing is this catches big ones too. So you throw this in the pads, you throw it in the grass, you will swim it out, you drag it out, you swim it back to the boat, and it's gonna catch big fish. Now, this particular bait is the Zoom Magnum Speed Worm in Junebug Red. This is my favorite color, Junebug Red. Caught so many fish on this particular bait. This bait actually caught my PB, which was 7.18 pounds on the Harris chain of lakes. Actually, it was on, Little Harris is where that fish came from. I put a 5/0 straight shank worm hook in this thing. I prefer the straight shank hook because it gets hung up less than if you were to use an EWG or a flipping hook. There's less hook on the back side of the bait to get hung on, so that's why I prefer that. But I will put a 3/16 ounce bullet weight on this and just swim it around pads, flip it in pads, swim it in grass. It just gets bit. So coming in at number 2, my favorite, my PB came on this bait, is the Zoom Ultra Vibe Magnum Speed Worm in Junebug Red. If you ain't throwing it in Florida, you better get you some. All right, so I want to give an honorable mention to a bait that deserves its due. And this bait, not a lot of people throw this bait. I don't really know why, especially guys in Florida. The only reason that I'm putting this bait on this list because I didn't throw this bait that much. I mean, obviously I do throw a little bit, but this is Dale's bait. It's an honorable mention. He actually caught way more fish on this bait than I did this year. And it's got to give its props. It's got to be tied for first place, if not in first place. And the bait that I'm talking about is the Hot Seat Custom Baits Lizard. It is called the Skink. Dale caught so many fish on this bait this year. He caught big ones and little ones on this bait this year, and I want to give him a shout out. Check the link down in the description. Again, hotseatcustombaits.com. You can get this lizard or this skink in any color that you want. You know, my favorite color, this is Junebug Red, a green pumpkin red. I believe he calls it kiwi red. It's just a great bait. It catches a ton of fish. Dale caught fish on this thing all year long. Saved our butts. I don't know how many times we put limits in the boat using this bait. If you don't have any in your fishing in Florida, you gotta get them. These little lizards crawl around our patios and they're outside. They run around all over the place. This is one of the most natural baits that there is. It looks just like a lizard, and it is a lizard. I believe that the fish think that it's real and they eat it. I mean, they just eat this thing up, especially around the spawn time when you've got bass that are guarding beds. You flip this on a bed, that's known. Everybody knows that. But what you didn't know is you can catch bass on this bait in Florida all year long. All 12 months out of the year, we caught fish on this bait. Every single tournament, there was at least one fish weighed in that was caught on this bait every single month. So go to the website, hotseatcustombaits.com, order some skinks, get them whatever color that you want. They'll make them up for you. Tell them I sent you. Use my code Matty at checkout to save 10% off of your order. All right, so we're up to the number 1 spot. I'm sure it's probably easy for you to guess what bait this was that caught the most fish in 2022. Yep, you guessed it. It's a Cinco. I mean, you can't get away. I can't get away from throwing a Cinco. I don't know what it is about the bait. You know, it was one of the first bass I ever caught on an artificial bait was a Cinco. It just catches fish. I can't explain it. I don't know what it is about it. I have fished them so many different ways. I've fished them weightless. I've fished them wacky. I fished them on a Texas rig with a weight. Doesn't matter. Nico rig. It doesn't matter which way you fish it. You're gonna get bit. It always gets bit. This is my favorite color. This is Junebug. You know, this is a Hot Seat Custom Baits Hot Sticks. Go to the website, order some up, get them whatever color you want, whether it's Junebug Red, Green Pumpkin Red, Tragic Magic, whatever you want. They get bit, period. I caught so many fish on this bait this year, and I don't even like throwing Cincos anymore. I want to throw something else. But you know what? You go back to it because it gets bit. Puts fish in the boat, it also it doesn't just catch little ones, it catches big ones too. If you watched the last video, which was the 2-day classic that was on Lake Istapoga, almost all those fish were caught on a Cinco. And they were some big ones. We weighed in at least 19 plus pounds on the first day flipping cypress trees with Cincos. So, I mean, you just can't get away from it. It's number one for a reason. It's the best-selling bait in the world for a reason, because it catches fish, period. So coming in at number one is none other than the Cinco. All right, guys, well, there you have it. That's the top 10 baits that I caught bass on in 2022. So what'd you think of the list? What items are on the list that you fish? They're on your top 10 list. Leave them down in the comments down below. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel. We've got a great season coming up for 2023, as I mentioned before. So hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any videos or any content that I put out for 2023. So I hope everybody had a great Christmas and a happy new year. And I hope that you fish big this year. I'm gonna fish big this year. Use those baits, and I promise you, you're gonna get bit and you're gonna catch big numbers and big fish. So like I always say, if you're gonna fish, fish big.